Welcome back, Picklers! Episode 5, baby, and we're back. On today's episode, we're going to talk about a little Canadian update, what's happening in the scene since we've been gone for a couple weeks. We had a couple injuries here, a couple busy weeks, but we're back. What's going on? CNPL's coming up May 9th and 10th at Pickler, Toronto West out in Etobicoke. So some tournament updates, and then, a little sneak peek of if you're not playing in the CNPL, how to level up and get there, right? What are some tips and tricks that, you can use to get there?
Yeah, especially if you're hard stuck at your level. And we're also going to talk about tournament season. It's upcoming, how to train properly for it in our eyes, how to pick the right partner as well, right? Get that chemistry going. And then a little bit of quick fire at the end here. So without further ado, we're going to start. This is Mark to my right. This is Max to my left. I'm Daniel. We got producer Riley in the back. And this is episode 5, baby.
Let's go. So, going into quick updates here. We had the APA at One Health, GTA Open, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Some really good results. Max, can you give us some updates on what happened at the GTA Open?
Yeah, I mean, we had a few coaches that were competing. We had Rizzo and Danny playing mixed. They had a little slow start, we'll call it, in the early rounds, and then they kind of figured it out and played much better as the day went on, and they got gold in that.
They came back in that game to 15. It was
they
a
did,
grind.
yeah. So they lost to Lucas and Tara in the main draw, and then had to come back through the losers bracket there. Then we also had Darren, Wang, and Brendan making a showing back together. They haven't played together for a while.
Yeah,
so
that was a walk in the park for them. It seemed like, right?
I have to say, Darren has become a different beast ever since finally switching to a 16-millimeter paddle. And he's, he feels quite confident out there. I just played with him the other day. He's on another level. I said 2026 is his year.
Yeah, I honestly think when I was warming up with them and giving them some warm-up games prior to the tournament, and, from my point of view, what really separated them and won them that tournament was their defense. Just everything was coming back. You can hit that ball as hard as you want. They're just extending those rallies to every rally's 10, 15, 20 shots, right? So
just making balls, and their hands are fast, as we know.
Yeah, so making balls and getting back up to that kitchen line and extending rallies. So, great work. If you're a CNPL team owner, you should probably be looking into Brendan's game because he hasn't played a tournament in a while, and he just walked in there and looked like he was in pretty fine form, right?
Yeah, hasn't played a tournament in I don't know how long, but came back with the dub.
Let's go.
Yeah, so, really good showing. A lot more tournaments happening. We're getting into tournament season. Right now, we actually have the U.S. Open going on. I have a couple buddies down in Naples. Max and I were supposed to go, but a couple injuries held us back. We had to pull out last minute.
Wouldn't have been fair to the 8-person draw you're gonna have there, right? So yeah, if you guys don't know, the U.S. Open, Naples, thousands and thousands of players come. I think there's like 3,000 unique matches being played from what I saw.
More.
Is it more?
There's over 3,000 players.
3,000 players.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy. Yeah. So listen, you head out there. It's more of like, it's like the mecca of like pickleball. It's somewhere you go even if you're not playing to just go and meet players from all walks of life. And there's small draws, from what I understand, but it's quite a fun time.
Like small draws for amateur events. The pro events have like round of 64s minimum.
but it's like a festival for like 2 weeks. It's a blast. I played
you
the last
want,
2 years.
If you want long wait times at the rec play courts, then go to the U.S. Open and go to any court while the U.S. Open's happening. Yeah. And on that whiteboard, you'll probably be waiting like 10 matches down the board. So not an ideal place for rec play, but great for community and celebrating the sport of pickleball.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to Amy Hiltz.
Yeah, she just got third.
Yeah. Bronze.
Michelle Steers.
Wow. Yeah, I think that was age group.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Love to see our Canadian peeps bringing home some hardware, right? Speaking of,
Is there tariffs when it comes back to Canada? We're gonna have to see if it's real metal.
speaking of, long wait times at rec play courts, let's move into a little segment here of your favorite courts to play at in the summer, because our outdoor season here is so short. So, why do you like playing outdoor pickleball, and what are some things you hate and love about it?
I mean, favorite place last summer was probably Le Parc.
Park.
The courts were built last year, so they were fresh and there was no cracks or anything like that. So it was a nice spot, and they're getting 12 more or 8 more courts now.
Yeah, listen, the sport's growing, and we'll shout out the city of Vaughan for realizing the demand and using it as kind of a test bed, and now actually looking at the utilization last year. They need those courts, right?
Well, yeah, when we were playing there on some nights, the tennis court, I don't think I ever saw one person playing tennis there. But
Wasn't much of a tennis court.
No, it wasn't. But the pickleball was always slammed, especially later the day went on. It was always like wait times, but if you went during the day on a nice day, you could probably just hold that court the whole time. So
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's a different beast, outdoor pickleball, completely. It's a different game. Obviously, in the U.S., that's the primary game you play. I prefer indoor, personally, just because it's a more controllable environment. It's frustrating when the wind's just blaring and you can't do anything about it, and you have no one to blame but the wind, not yourself, right? But yeah, let's talk about some play here. A ton of players entering the sport now. A ton of facilities being born in Canada. We got players that are just finding themselves stuck at certain levels of play, either coming from a racket or paddle sport or not at all, and they really want to level up. It's frustrating. It actually demotivates some players as well from continuing if they just are completely plateaued and competitive. We're gonna quickly go here, talk about a couple levels, what we've seen in the industry over the past number of years, and what are the main things that maybe people at these levels or players at these levels could take away from this conversation to be able to break that plateau. So I want to start when it starts getting a little bit competitive at the 3-0 level. Mm-hmm. What do you see being some things that allow players on their road to 3-5?
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing is going to be to pay $39 for a duper reset. Sign up with a couple 5-0 players, and you'll never be there again.
Talking about duper reset, at the Rising League for CMPL, they made them do it.
No way.
If you were a certain level, you had to do it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Listen, it's pay to play.
Yeah, pay to play, baby. So if you're not going to do the duper reset and you actually want to achieve that 3-5, with full confidence, knowing you can hang in there and hold your own, I think from 3-0 to 3-5, you just need to focus on keeping the ball low, avoiding your opponent from getting that overhead. So just doesn't really matter about dinking. It doesn't matter about drops, really. What matters is if you're going to hit the ball over the net, do not pop it up and keep that rally going, because you're going to force a lot of unforced errors from your opponents.
That's a really, really amazing point. If you break down pickleball, you got to keep it in that window of a paddle and a half length above the net, and it's a game of war out there. The high ground always wins. High to low, low to high battles, right? So if you keep it there in 3-0, it's gonna be in your favor 100%. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if there is dinking going on, it's really slow, and if you can control that ball and keep it in front of you, you're going to find the opportunity to bang it right at your opponent. But, with that being said, I see a lot of coaches looking at it from a coaching perspective. They're teaching a lot of these lower level players the fundamentals of the soft game, but now we throw them into a 3-0 open play, and there's none of that.
Yeah, I played the 3-0 open play last night. At the
okay, so you tell me what happened.
Oh, I was just whack, whack, whack. But all the teams that won, everybody was doing the same thing, just whacking. But the teams that did win were whacking the ball closer to the net.
And so would you say that from the reverse side of things, if you're dealing with whackers, you should just start focusing on your punch and on your counters, right?
I think teaching those certain individuals, the biggest things you need to teach them are a proper technique on a volley, because you're going to see a lot of volleys. So a punch volley, just getting that ball down. Doesn't have to be hit hard, but just down. So that next ball that they're hitting is always going to be up.
Yeah, and I think, from that 3-0 level, we're going to jump into the 3-5 and how to get to 4-0. But from that 3-0 level, what gets you to that 3-5 level and that next level is anticipation. If you can prepare your paddle early and get set in front and understand what's coming to you by giving yourself that extra second or two to read your opponent, that helps you prepare. And preparation is everything in getting to the higher levels. Anticipation and preparation, because when you finding those little cues of that ball being sped up at you is so important to get prepared. So now jumping into that 3-5, how do you become a 4-0? If you're a 3-5 and you're hard stuck, now what are some things we have to look at to get to that 4-0?
Yeah, I'd say so. 3-5, you're seeing a lot of dinking happening for the sake of dinking, right? That's where I see it. It's like you dink because I was told to dink, versus understanding dinking. I think between a 3-5 and a 4-0 starts a bit of weaponization of that dink, where they're able to drop the ball again closer to the net, drive the ball a little bit closer to the net, get to the net. Like 3-5s typically they do get to the net. It's a bit of reactive pickleball still, and they're just doing things because in a reactive way. 4-0, it's you kind of like have awoken. It's like, if I put a ball here, maybe they'll have a little bit of a problem putting it there, right?
But I think the common theme between all levels is as you go from 3-0 to 3-5, 3-5 to 4-0, 4-0 to 4-5, what gets to those next levels is the court shrinks. It all comes down to having less time and space. So as if you're a 3-5 and you pop a dink up, your opponent might not be ready for that attack, right? Whereas in 4-0 plus, you're gonna pay a little more for popping balls up. So it's really, as you advance and as you grow, the margin for error becomes a little bit slimmer.
And last thing, throw it on to Max here to hear his thoughts. But obviously, everyone comes from different backgrounds, different racket sports. Bless you, Mark. Different paddle sports. Obviously, technicalities and technical footwork, technical shots. That's something that is you got to grind it out if it doesn't come naturally. If you don't come from a powerful background.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is actually a lot of our members at OPA Hamilton, the ones who put in time and bring their own, baskets and drill one-on-one. It's not only about drilling, they're drilling intentionally. And they have really good fundamentals. They've put themselves in a great position where they've given themselves a very high ceiling. And now what I see is what's missing in their game is individually their shots have very good technique, very good precision, but they're not connecting the dots with, I hit this shot, now I got to close the gap on the court. Now I got to get to the next target, and I got to look to kind of weaponize my shots rather than just hitting my shot and staying there and playing defense. So obviously connecting the baseline to the transition zone to the kitchen is what I think takes the longest.
Yeah, because I think everybody here is like, oh, if you want to get better, you got to drill. Just drill, 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 and you're going to get better. But if you just drill resets and you never move forward after you hit a reset, there's no good for it.
Yeah.
You have to hit that reset to be able to close on that next ball or whatever that is. But that's why it's just connecting the dot from reset to get to that line, play out that dinking point, and find that ball that you can speed up or counter.
And listeners, that's where you can always reach out to OPA and schedule a couple lessons to connect the dots. And it's not so much about, obviously the foundation, the technique is so important, but at the end of the day, it's understanding, if I have the technique, how do I use that to implement it in my everyday game? And now thinking about strategy, right? Because I see a lot of players, why they complain is, I'm learning the third shot drop. We're learning the third shot drop. And their teammate that they're playing with is just put a blindfold on them. They're running right to the kitchen line and getting slammed every time. So that's why they don't understand why it's so effective, because they're not doing it together.
Yeah. Last thing before we head to the 4-0 group, I'd say I found something that really works for a lot of people is the timing of drilling some of these things. I think that even dedicating 30 minutes towards one skill, because honestly, for amateurs, sometimes in hours, it's hard to really focus for that whole hour, and let alone the strain on your body from doing 1,000 shots. 30 minutes to 40 minutes of one maximum 2 skills right before you play. You're pretend you're learning a two-hander backhand drive. You do, hundreds of balls, right? Just right before you play. Your peak of your confidence in that skill is at its highest, right? After that 30, 40 minutes. And then you jump into a game with all the focus in the world of utilizing that skill in a real environment as your confidence is at its highest to click. Because I see everyone drilling, and you go into a game and they completely forget, right? What did you just drill for?
It's the most common theme with resets.
Yeah,
you drill resets for an hour, you put them in a game, and there's no resets because we're reactionary, and the ball's coming, and we're going to the ball, instead of staying nice and calm on the court. So
the 4-0. Let's talk 4-0 now.
Yeah, 4-0 now. Again, you have anticipation, you have a bit of softer hands, and you understand that you have to make the point a little bit longer, because if you attack at the wrong time, you're going to pay for it. And that's what it comes down to. If you attack at the wrong time in 3-5 or 3-0, you can keep the rally going sometimes. But if somebody nails a ball right in your feet and you're up playing defense the whole time, it's much harder to recover.
There's a lot of players that are naturally talented coming from racket or paddle sports, and they get super hard stuck in the 4-0 level, 4-0, 4-2-5 level. And this is I think one of the levels I really want to emphasize here, that it takes a lot to break out of the pit here of 4-0. You really got to be quite intentional, like you're saying, with breaking free from reactive pickleball to intentional pickleball with purpose. Your shots have to have purpose to them.
Yeah, that's a good point. And let's move on here to, if you were looking for a potential tournament partner and you're seeking a partner, what are some things that you're looking for in that partner? I have something on my mind that it just came to me that's really, it's a quick thought, and we'll get to, what you look for in a tournament partner, but what came to my mind is about drilling. So a lot of the time I see tournament partners drilling one-on-one together, but how often do you see tournament partners drilling two of them side by side with one player across the net?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll take full credit for Rizzo and Danny winning, because we did that the other week, right before the tournament. But besides that, you don't see that very often. If anything, you're going to get practice games the week before, but it's very different than drilling, because you'll get in that situation maybe 4 times in the 2 hours that you're playing. Mm-hmm. You won't get in that situation that you're really looking for, rather than just drilling. I think 3-person drilling is very important, where you can find a lot of weaknesses and strategies from that 3-on-1, like dinking stuff.
Yeah, definitely, and putting yourself in every situation possible, right? Yeah. Great point. And not only that, when you're putting yourself in all those situations, you and your partner really understand what patterns are working, and I think that's so important. At the lower levels, there's no patterns going on. No. It's kind of like one person's doing a free-for-all, this person's kind of tagging along. But as you go to the higher levels, the game of chess really connects, and you've drilled those patterns, and you know that we're going to look to speed up middle, and the ball can only come here or here, right? And we're both ready because I know you're going to speed it up. Yeah. But a lot of the time where we get caught is our partner speeds it up, and we're just standing there watching. Mm-hmm.
So I'd say you're looking at the 4-0, taking that point, looking at the 4-0 group. I think that they are typically, again, doing all the right shots, attempting the right shots, but are not capable or willing to prolong the rally and go for it when it's not there. And 2, they are not taking advantage of opportunities when they're presented, being able to reach in and take that ball out of the air. They usually let it bounce or don't take advantage of clear opportunities to win points. Mm-hmm. But everything else is pretty it's a high-level pickleball, right? I think there's something to be said in for how amazing 4-0 play is and how fun it is. And I think that going from there to 4-5 is all about just consistency. It's the same kind of things that we see, all about more consistent play.
So Max, quick question. What's the difference of 5-5 to 6-0? What do you think?
I think the biggest thing is going to be they're not going to miss really any easy shot.
Make you work for every point.
Every return is going to be deep. Every serve is going to be deep and heavy. every third's going to go over. Doesn't mean it's going to be like dropping.
Like,
But
God forbid they miss one. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, and what I see too, like if you watch any live stream on YouTube, always pay attention to the footwork.
yeah, they're always moving.
Like-
there's never stopping just watching a ball.
And the paddle's in sync with the feet. Like paddle's out in front, you're anticipating where that ball's going, and it's just a simple, effortless stab at the ball, and it's going down, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just those easy shots that a 5-5 might miss from here to there. Like a 6-0 is just not going to miss.
And so, going back again, because we're here on the 4-0, 4-5 here, but I want to talk about 4-5s for a sec. Playing with a bunch of them, they're unreal. They can make every shot. They could get a ton of points off of any player that thinks they could play open play. If not, play open and give a decent run sometimes if they have a partner with the right chemistry. But I'm finding that they see what Ben Johns does and Annalie Waters does on the court, and they try and emulate it and go for the sickest looking shots, hit them 10% of the time, and completely miss, a third shot backhand roll because it looks sick, and just pretty much beat themselves every game.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is everything. You don't need to be fancy with it. It's how many balls you make back on the other side of the court.
Like, perfect example. Our boy Mark Clemenson, shout out to Mark Clemenson. His third shot drop is the most simple thing, and if he misses it, the world is ending. Right?
But you know what I noticed with him? He's so good at slowing the third shot down and getting into position on the reset and being ready with a nice, like his resets are next level and unattackable a lot of the time, and that's what gets him into such a good position, right?
Yeah, so for the 4-5s that want to break out and play open, maybe like later this summer, I highly recommend breaking it down to a much more simple pickleball that's much more consistent. Going from that 60% consistency to 80% consistency.
Yeah, but
grind out the points.
But not only that, it's yes, they can get to the kitchen line every time, but now they're playing players who just have better hands than them, if not the same or better, and they're putting themselves in positions that are on defense. So it's now, how do we kind of weaponize our dinks without making them too fancy to put ourselves in a position where we can counter and we can, what drills are we going to do to get our hand speed up to par when we play these open tournaments? Because the players we're playing with in rec play and practicing with don't have the same hand speed as the elite players winning these tournaments,
Well, that's
right?
when you can get away with a lot of stuff. When you're playing players that don't have that elite hand speed, it's like you can speed this ball up and you're going to live a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Versus when you go play someone with really heavy hands or fast hands, if you do that, you're just going to eat that ball.
Yeah.
And let's move on here. Let's talk about drilling for a second, because the tournament season's coming up. We got the summer, hopefully some outdoor tournaments too, but a ton of indoor
I think
tournaments
we have a
happening.
tournament coming soon.
Oh, really?
Don't we?
Okay. Well, listen, stay tuned.
Secret.
Stay
tuned.
tuned. Could be in
I got
June.
maybe
Maybe.
so.
We'll see.
I got a shout out producer, he's drilling his ass off here, and it's showing on the court. Not everyone, 99% of people aren't going to do that, but I want to be realistic, like completely realistic with expectations of the average two players that want to, get ready for these tournaments. What should their regimen be on a weekly basis?
I had a question for you. If you're 3-0 and you got, let's call it 3 tournaments this summer, and you play 4 times a week, what should you be doing with those 4 days?
Yeah, like anything. So my first piece of advice is always when you go and play, maybe you're playing a 2-hour session because everybody wants to play games. Maybe you go 30 minutes or book a court for an hour before and play some skinny singles with your partner and just work on shots. And if you're not drilling, at least play skinny singles and go head on, diagonal, and at least work on serve and return side of things. Maybe a little 7-11, putting yourselves in some scenarios where it's still gameplay. It still could be fun, but it's more intentional and showing you where you need to improve on. Right?
I think that's a big thing, like drilling or mini games like that. Skinny singles is so important.
Yeah, you're putting yourselves in positions that's keeping you honest. You have no one to blame. You can't blame your partner. The one thing I do hate about skinny singles when we're going diagonal and people try and hit this shot down the middle that beats you on the side, but then again, it makes you focus on your footwork. If you don't want to get beat there, you really got to move your feet. So it shows you all aspects of the game, and whether you're going in a head-on direction or diagonal, working on different patterns and working on consistency is so important.
Producer, I want you to, because you're the only person that actually drills here. I want you to give just
Nope.
a couple drills that you
I
think.
was drilling this
Coach
morning.
Max
Come on.
was on the court
Max
at
has been on
8:30.
the
Hour and a
court
half
more
today.
lately. He's been looking like an all-star. He's moving
why
his
you're
feet.
moving
I was helping
Yeah.
Team Green out there today.
Yeah, let's do
Work
it.
on his right side.
But I before I give my tips, I want to get your guys' thoughts on drilling shots that you're good at and focusing on those, or learning new shots that add more tools to your toolbox. Which would you say is more important at each of those levels? Like going from 3-0 to 3-5, from 3-5 to 4-0, 4-0 to 4-5. Is it better to focus on the shots that you're good at and make those spectacular? Or is it better to start adding more shots to your toolbox so that you can potentially get through those games more?
Yeah, I think I'll start with that. I think at the higher level, 5-0 plus, you need to master what you're really good at. We know if you're a 5-0, we know you can get to the kitchen line, so it's a lot of, deception and working on mastering your kind of attacks at the kitchen line. I mean, given if you have an amazing drive, your pattern will be drive drop a lot more than hitting a third, right? If you have an amazing drip, you're going to be using your drip 70% of the time, right? Whereas 3-0 to 3-5s, I'd say you don't need to learn everything, but you need to learn drive and drop, and then obviously you need to learn how to reset, and then you need to learn how to hit dinks, or else at the higher levels, people are just going to isolate what you're not good at, right? And exploit you. So there's a lot more to be well-rounded on in a simple fashion from lower level, but master at the high level.
Yeah, I think that there's checklists that you have to hit at each level, like I guess very basic checklists. But once you get to a certain level, what differentiates you is, and lets you, I guess, medal where others don't, is putting yourself in positions which exploit your strengths. Don't let people bully your backhand dink if it's not your strength. Maybe play the other side, or push it somewhere where they're forced to give it to your forehand or middle. So like always put yourself in positions of strength rather than weakness.
I have a hot take. So, producer, hot take right now. In today's day and age, in the game that we're playing, can you win 5-0 plus tournaments or open level tournaments with just having a backhand, one-handed slice dink?
I think you can survive. I don't know if you can thrive. I think it depends on what your role is within the team, right? If you've got a partner, and I saw this at the APA out at One Health, there's a pairing that had one player that was basically dominating everything, and the other player was there as essentially a really great backup, but never missed a shot. Like nothing crazy. I think most shots were like a slice backhand dink. I never saw a top spin dink with any sort of pressure, but they did well. They performed exceptionally well. So I think it depends on your role, right? Like if you are the one that's the aggressor, then no, you can't get away with a slice dink. You need to have some sort of top spin dink that's going to get them moving. Mm-hmm. But
I have a hot take on this. So to producer Riley here, amazing point. This jumps right into our next segment here of you're gearing up for tournament season. We're talking about chemistry, choosing your partner, how to play together. Producer here is saying that when you have two rules, an A and a B, if you guys don't know, typically, a typical fashion when you're playing. One player, their forehand is typically, not always, their stronger shot is in the middle of the court where they're able to reach and be aggressive and always look for balls. They're typically taking 60, 65, if not 70% of the court, laterally moving aggressively. And the other player is there to be a wall. Never miss a shot. Actually, sometimes even dead dink balls back to the middle just to be so annoying.
You think that's still alive? Yeah. This strategy?
But 1 second there. But producer's saying if the A player gets a ball, they need to make something happen with it. They cannot give that ball back just whatever, because them getting balls is very atypical. It's not a right. It's something they have to earn on the court, because obviously the ball is being kept away from them. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point, and what I would relate this to, I have a great analogy, and the analogy has to do with a battery, a plus and a minus. But the battery has two sides to the equation. Number one, the plus is the A player and the minus is the B player, right? But also, relating it back to our last segment, is the plus is somebody who's hitting power, and the minus is always someone who's gonna how to respond to the power, and take that power and just kind of absorb it, right? So when I give the analogy of the battery to my students, it's always, if there's power, take it off, but also the battery has to do with the A and the B player as well. How can they coexist and mesh together to really create efficient movement on the court and allow for that A player to have the space to move? Like, I don't know, people don't want to play with me these days because I have broad shoulders and I don't move my feet. So, right? I think I'm in people's way. But at the same time, you know what? Get the hell out of my way, right? I'm sick and tired of you coming onto my court because my forehand's better than yours. So get the hell off my freaking side.
Here's a perfect example here. So Mark and I, even though I'm a lefty and Mark's a lefty, I typically, when we played forever, on the left side, I'm the B, stands for something. And Mark's the A player, taking what he can. And we were playing together. We switched for fun because create a little bit of chaos on the court. And he, right here, his MOI tooting clips from Selkirk sliced my finger because he still thought he was the A player when I was playing on the right side. So it just innate drive. I think some people are, have the confidence and just are aggressive players and play with that sort of play style. It's hard for B players to just like on a dime and on a moment's notice become that sort of player. It's I think to say that some people are just naturally like that.
Yeah, but I'd say not only that, it's very important that before you start the game to discuss with each other who has the middle and kind of like, I'm happy to always, take a lesser role for the greater good, but it's just discuss it with me and understand before this game starts, let's have a strategy. I don't like going into things blind. I like to study for my tests, right?
I would say you're very good in that when we do play games and just for fun too, nothing serious, but it's always like anytime we're serving, there's always a strategy. It's like, hey, let's drop this one.
So
hey, let's drop to here, and
just so we're on the same page, because one of my pet peeves is we go on the court and I play with someone who's just speeding up and doing crazy shit. Like, let's go on the court. So you have those two types of players. You have, for example, let's go back to the Hamilton club, OPA Hamilton. We have some 4-0 plus play, and we have some very serious players who want to excel and get better. And their pet peeve is always, I'm showing up to the 4-0 plus play, but so-and-so isn't trying. Like, I want to take this seriously. I want every match to feel like this is the championship final of the tournament, right? So with that being said, like when I'm playing on the court in the limited time we have to actually play and have fun, I want to make sure that we're playing serious and like these games are challenging and giving us a workout, right?
Yeah, I honestly had a random
That's why
idea.
I can't play with you.
Hey, in tournaments though, I'll flip the switch. Honestly, the next time any facility owners out there try this new program, it's called Toonie Open Play. Get everyone to bring a bunch of toonies, and every game a toonie's on the line per player, and even a $2 bet. People are gonna. Might be some fights though, but it creates a mentality of seriousness and focus that it's really hard to sometimes find.
Yeah. And one thing I'll say, hot take: no matter when two lefties play together, someone will always complain, "Oh, I forgot he was a lefty." Like you knew we were both lefties for 5 years. Like relax.
yeah.
But bunch of weirdos out there. So yeah, at the end of the day, let's circle back. Chemistry. Find your partner, A and a B. Get drilling with them. Let's focus on making sure that there's strategy involved. Focus on making sure that you're drilling. Even skinny singles is still considered drilling, and it's the perfect blend between having a fun, stimulating time on the court and obviously working in a place with less margin for error. And lastly, if you're hard stuck at your level, don't worry, you're not alone. There's ways of breaking through those plateaus. We're here to help if you need. Please send us a message on Instagram, on Facebook. Send us a text message. Send us a carrier pigeon. I don't care. We'll help. We're gonna follow. We're gonna help you guys. With any questions you got. Feel free to leave some comments in the description below as well.
And remember, if you're hard stuck, there's always people on the court who think they're better than they are. So you're gonna catch up to them in no time. Because they think they're a 4-0, but they're a 3-5. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you all for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment. And you know what? Episode 6 coming out next week. Let's do a fun giveaway. Let's for those tuning in and still watching, we'll have a fun giveaway for you next week.
Oh yeah. Tune in, subscribe. We'll see you next time, guys.
Thank
See ya.
you. We out.